Welcome back to another episode of the Gun Collective News. I'm John Patton, and there are some leftover GunCon t-shirts for sale right now. If you want to snag one, there is a link in the description. The supply is ultra limited. We only have a few left. Get one before they're gone. Again, link in the description. Now, the news. We lost another icon of the gun industry this week by the name of Ed Brown. Yeah, that Ed Brown. One of the pioneers of the modern 1911 platform has passed away at the age of 77 after succumbing to his battle with liver cancer. The company with his namesake lives on, of course, and hopefully will continue to evolve. Speaking of evolving, the CEO of what I thought was HK USA, but was rather two separate companies, HKI and HKD, has announced the actual formation of HK USA. The real meat of the letter he put out says HK USA represents a significant advancement in our ability to serve our American customers more effectively. That is a big deal considering HK Germany, I guess that's HKD, has had the company bound up tight for a long time. The letter goes on to say that they are going to be manufacturing products here in the US and blah, 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 blah. More better stuff for Americans. This is actually a pretty big deal, I think. Imagine if HK could make like the MP7 or the G36 or something else cool here in the US. G11? Huh? G11? Huh? Come on. I mean, anything could be possible, but that is a very interesting thing. And it would likely be expensive, but very interesting. In other non-gun specific news, a company called Gunlocks reached out to me the other day to offer me exclusive early access to their new product. Now, that's not like abnormal for people to reach out and say things like that. However, this particular product, how do I say it? It's a bit silly. That's the nicest way I could come up with. The product is essentially a cable-style lock for your guns that has a bunch of different style cables, like replacement cables and lock shanks, that fit into a sort of universal lock base. That base contains some whiz-bang electronics and connects to an app via your phone. They say it uses facial recognition to unlock it, remote access, and they claim it works as a digital gun safe, whatever the hell that means. My problem with this is that the phone itself is providing the facial recognition, not the gun lock. And on top of that, it's been proven many, many times over that simple cable locks like these are easily defeated by nefarious individuals. The sales pitch is misleading and it's not cheap. You know how you get like one of those cable locks in every gun box out there these days and you throw them away? Well, they have found a way to give that thing an MSRP of $99. I asked the owner of the company if this was just a simple cable lock with an app, and as of filming this, I've yet to receive a response about that. Maybe I'm missing something here, but I don't get it. I don't get it. You're not providing facial recognition. That is a lie. Stop pretending that. You know what I'm not missing, though? Some of the best med kits out there from this week's sponsor, Medical Gear Outfitters. Whether you're looking to get an IFAK for yourself like the Civilian Medical Trauma Kit, or maybe something a little bit more diverse to keep in your truck like the Overlander First Aid Kit, they've got you covered. They even have one called the Mom First Aid Kit that has everything you can think of for minor boo-boos all the way up to major trauma. These kits from Medical Gear Outfitters will help you stay prepared for anything, and to make it even more affordable than it already is, use the code TGC10 for 10% off at medicalgearoutfitters.com. Big thanks to Medical Gear Outfitters for sponsoring this week's video. Winchester has a new cartridge out this week called the 21 Sharp. Now, we originally talked about this cartridge last July when the SAMI drawings were released, but the cartridge itself has come to life, and I want to dive into it a little bit. They are claiming that this is sort of a modern 22 LR for the modern age. Essentially, you have a 21 caliber bullet with seemingly better ballistics for relatively cheap. On launch, there are 4 variants of the ammo ranging from 25 grain up to 42 grain. The 25 is using a copper matrix projectile, aka compressed copper powder, and it leaves the muzzle around 1,750 feet per second, which is just ripping fast. The 42 grain, which is closer to a standard 22 long rifle weight, leaves the muzzle at 1,330 feet per second. MSRPs on a box of ammo are around half that of 22 Magnum currently, and about 50% higher than 22 long rifles. So It's really not that bad. And as per usual, though, a new cartridge requires new guns. Winchester shows their version of that in the images for this cartridge, but they don't exist outside. There's no information on those guns. However, Savage is not as imbecilic as Winchester and announced 4 guns that will have that chambering: the B Series F, the Mark II F, the Mark II FVSR, and the Mark II Minimalist. They will all be ready to rock for this new type of ammo. I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to say about this one. Are you into it? Does it matter to you at all? Is 22LR just the one no matter what? Sound off in the comments. Also in rimfire news, Angstadt Arms released their new integrally suppressed 1022 barrel called the Vanquish 22. This adds to the Vanquish 9 that they already have in their lineup. I gotta say, integral 22s are fantastic. I've got a couple back there. So this is likely going to keep that tradition up. It's hard to screw up a barrel that's been around forever, right? The MSRP isn't super offensive considering it's a barrel and a can combined at $600. That's actually right on par with all the other offerings out there in that realm. Moving on, Henry released their new Golden Boy revolvers. These are the first they've done in a rimfire configuration, and there are 2 versions. One with what they call a gunfighter grip, and the other one is for idiots. Much like the bigger 357 wheel guns they released earlier this year, these are very sort of classic styling and not really meant to go toe-to-toe with modern wheel guns. They hold 10 rounds of 22 short, long, or long rifle, all in the same chamber, and it comes with a 4-inch barrel. MSRP there is going to sting at $928. Also in the news, Jacob Gray Firearms has released a new version of their TWC pistol called the TWC Black. You might remember we did a review of the TWC 9 earlier this year, and it wasn't exactly my favorite, especially for their asking price, which I believe was $2,500-ish. Well, this new version looks to improve on that. For new features, they've added an aggressive grip texture the entire way around, which was one of my biggest issues with the previous gun. It was slick-sided for whatever reason. The barrel is now black instead of silver. It's got a toolless guide rod, which is nice. And all the hardware is now black instead of silver. They have also changed the trigger guard to make it more compatible with existing 2011 style holsters. That's smart. It also includes more optic plates than before, which is part of what I really liked about this gun. They come with all that stuff in the box. Otherwise, it's the same gun as before, which seems to solve most of the issues that I had with it. However, they did increase the MSRP from about $2,500 to $3,000, which is like saying, hey, we made it the way we should have made it in the first place, and now we're going to charge you more for it. At $3,000, the Staccato P and the Bull Tac Pro just run circles around this thing. Now, before we get into a couple more guns, I'm going to hit you with a deal of the week. This time, it's super simple. Vertex is having their big fall sale where stuff is at least 25% off if you use our code TGC. And to use that same code, I think you get up to 60% off on some stuff. I don't know. Go check it out. The website is vertx.com and the code is TGC. And if you use that code, it lets them know you saw it here, so go do that. Now, some more new guns. Kimber announced a few new versions of the R7 Mako, which is their striker-fired micro-compact pistol. This is clearly an attempt to compete with the 365X Macro, the non-comp version. It's called the Carbon Compact, and it can be had in 4 ways: with or without an optic installed, and with or without a threaded barrel. They say this new carbon fiber infused frame material increases durability, which is weird because I've never heard of anyone breaking the frame of their pistol without like an explosion, like something traumatic happening to the gun. But okay, sure, it's stronger now. It's not really a bad thing that it's stronger. They also say it comes with a better trigger and now has a flared magwell and holds 15 round mags. The barrel length on the standard version is 3.92 inches, with the threaded version being 4.42. I don't understand why gun companies don't just do like 4 inches and 4.5 inches. Let's just make it okay, whatever. MSRP is $735 on the no optic, no threads version, and goes up to $1080 for the threaded optic installed version. That baseline pricing isn't really that bad when you're comparing it to the SIG, but when you compare it to the rest of the concealed carry gun market, it looks a little less appealing. Also, in the news this week is Walther. They are having what they're calling the Techfest, the TEQ Fest. TEQ stands for Trigger, Ergonomics, and Quality. And for this Techfest, they've announced a few new pistols, some of which we've already covered, like the WMPSD and the PDP Pro E, but others like the PP and PPK and PPKS, I just don't think they're interesting enough, so we're going to cover the ones that are the cool guns that they've now released. There are really two models that stand out to me. The first is the PDP Pro X, which is a partnership between Walther and Parker Mountain Machine, who makes some of the best compensators on the market. There are two versions of the Pro X, compact and full size, which really only has to do with the grip length. Both have 4.6-inch barrels, and the frames have been extended to sort of cup the bottom of that compensator. These also come with the excellent dynamic performance trigger, which is one of the best on any striker fire gun right now, and otherwise it comes with the magwell that we've seen on other PDP models, and the MSRP on both of those is $999, so $1,000. On top of that, there's a new version of the PDP-F, the sort of slimmed down version of that gun. Essentially, they've turned this one up with a new magwell and the dynamic performance trigger for that slim gun. And instead of shipping with 15-round mags, these now ship with 18-rounders. This one can be had in either a 3.5-inch or 4-inch barrel, and I think I'd opt for the 4-incher because that 1/2-inch does not make a difference. That's what she said. MSRP on these is $899, which is not cheap, but I guess if it shoots as nice as the full-size gun, it might be worth a couple extra points. I don't know. I've never shot the F size of this gun, so if anyone can weigh in, if you got one and you really like it or you hate it, whatever, leave that down in the comments. That'd be great. And don't forget to go buy a GunCon t-shirt, just like this one. It might look better on you than it looks on me, so I can get them out of my house and into yours. That would be great. Thanks. Bye.